I used to believe in God. Not in a dramatic way, not in a church 3 times a week kind of way, but I believed. I prayed sometimes, mostly when I needed something. I went to church on holidays, Christmas, Easter, the big ones. I taught my kids that there was a God, that He loved them, that He had a plan, and I believed that. I really did, until the day my wife died, and then I stopped believing in everything. My name is Jack. I'm 53 years old. And for the last 3 years, I've been angry at God. Not just disappointed, not just confused, angry. The kind of anger that sits in your chest like a stone. The kind that makes you look at people praying and think, what's the point? My wife's name was Emma. We were married for 28 years. High school sweethearts, the whole story. She was the best person I ever knew. Kind, patient, the kind of person who'd stop to help a stranger, who'd remember your birthday, who'd make you feel like you mattered. Everyone loved Emma, including me, especially me. And then one Tuesday morning, she didn't wake up. Brain aneurysm. The doctor said she didn't feel anything, that it was instant, like that was supposed to make it better, like knowing she didn't suffer would somehow fill the hole she left behind. I was 50 years old when Emma died, and I didn't know how to live without her. So I got angry. At the doctors, at the world, at myself. But mostly, I got angry at God, because I'd done everything right. I'd been a good person, a good husband, a good father. I'd worked hard, paid my taxes, helped my neighbors. And Emma, she was better than me. She volunteered. She donated. She prayed every single night. If anyone deserved to live a long, happy life, it was her. So why did God take her? Why did He let me wake up that morning and find her cold beside me? Why did He let my kids lose their mother? What kind of God does that? For the first few months, people tried to comfort me. She's in a better place. God needed another angel. Everything happens for a reason. And every time someone said those words, I wanted to scream, because none of it made sense. None of it helped. None of it brought her back. So I stopped going to church, stopped praying, stopped pretending that any of it mattered. If that's how God treats people who love Him, then I want nothing to do with Him. Welcome to Good Stories Today, your channel for emotional and inspiring stories. Listen while you drive, work, or simply seek inspiration. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. Disclaimer: this video contains AI-generated content for educational and entertainment purposes. This is my story, the story of how I stopped believing in God, and how something I couldn't explain made me believe again. Chapter 1: The Empty House. After Emma died, everything changed. Not just the obvious things, her absence, the silence, the empty side of the bed, but the small things too. The house felt different, colder, like the warmth had left with her. Our kids, Sarah and Michael, came home for the funeral. Sarah lives in Denver. She's 30 now, married, has a baby on the way. Michael's in Boston, 27, just started a new job. They stayed for a week, helped me sort through things, made sure I was eating. But then they had to go back to their lives. And I understood. I did. But when they left, the house became unbearable. Every room reminded me of her. The kitchen, where she'd make coffee every morning at 6 a.m. The living room, where she'd curl up with a book every night. The backyard, where she'd garden for hours, talking to the plants like they could hear her. I couldn't escape her, even though she was gone. I started sleeping in the guest room. Couldn't stand being in our bed without her. I stopped cooking, started living on frozen dinners and takeout, stopped answering the phone, stopped checking emails, stopped caring. People from church would call. Pastor Tom, some of the women from Emma's Bible study group. They'd leave messages. Jack, we're praying for you. Jack, if you need anything, we're here. Jack, please come to service. We miss you. I never called back, because I didn't want their prayers. I didn't want their pity, and I sure as hell didn't want to sit in a church and pretend that God gave a damn about me. One Sunday morning, about 6 months after Emma died, there was a knock on my door. It was Pastor Tom. "Jack, I've been trying to reach you." "I know. Can I come in?" I didn't want him to, but I opened the door anyway. He sat in the living room, looked around at the mess, the unopened mail, the dust, the decay. "How are you doing?" "I'm fine." "Jack, you don't look fine." "What do you want me to say, Tom? That I'm great? That I'm handling it? I want you to be honest." "Okay, I'm not fine. I'm angry, and I don't want to talk about it." He was quiet for a moment. "You're angry at God?" "Yeah, I am." "That's okay." "Is it?" Because last time I checked, being angry at God wasn't exactly encouraged. God can handle your anger, Jack. He's big enough for it. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. Is he? Because it doesn't feel like it. It feels like he took the one good thing in my life and left me with nothing. Tom didn't have an answer for that, and I didn't expect him to. "I appreciate you coming by, but I'm done with church. I'm done with God. So you don't have to keep checking on me." "I'm not going to stop checking on you, Jack, whether you want me to or not." He stood up, put his hand on my shoulder. "You're not alone, even if it feels like you are." And then he left. I stood there in my empty living room and thought, yes, I am. I am completely alone. Chapter 2, The Anger. For the next year, I lived in that anger. I didn't try to move past it, didn't try to heal. I just existed. I went to work, came home, watched TV, went to bed, repeat. I sold cars at a dealership, had for 20 years. It was mindless, repetitive, and that's what I needed, something that didn't require me to feel. My coworkers tried to be supportive at first. "Sorry for your loss, Jack. If you need anything, let us know." But after a while they stopped, because grief makes people uncomfortable, and I didn't blame them. I'd become uncomfortable to be around, quiet, withdrawn, angry, not at them, just angry in general. One day a customer came in, middle-aged guy, looking at trucks. We were talking specs, financing, the usual. And then, out of nowhere, he said, "You know, my brother just passed away. Cancer. It's been tough." I didn't know what to say. "I'm sorry." "Yeah, but I know he's with God now. That gives me peace." And something in me snapped. "Peace? You think your brother dying gives you peace?" He looked startled. "I mean, yeah, I believe he's in a better place." "A better place, right, because dying of cancer is part of some grand plan." I didn't mean, "Look, I'm sorry about your brother, but don't stand here and tell me that God has a plan. Because if he does, it's a shitty one." The guy left, didn't buy the truck. My manager pulled me aside. "Jack, what the hell was that?" "He was talking about God." I gave my opinion. "Your opinion cost us a sale. You need to keep your personal stuff out of this." "Yeah, okay." But I didn't care. I didn't care about the sale. I didn't care about the job. I didn't care about anything. That night, I sat in my living room with a beer, and I said out loud to no one, "If you're real, if you're listening, I hate you." I waited for lightning, for a sign, for something, but nothing happened, just silence. And I thought, of course, because he's not real, or worse, he is real, and he just doesn't care. Chapter 3, The Quiet Moments. 2 years after Emma died, something started to shift. Not because I wanted it to, but because life kept happening whether I was ready or not. Sarah had her baby, a little girl, Emily. She called me from the hospital. "Dad, she's here. She's perfect." "That's great, honey. I'm happy for you." "When can you come visit?" "I don't know. Soon." But I didn't go. I told myself I was too busy, that Denver was too far, that I'd go later. But the truth was, I was scared. Scared of feeling something again. Scared of being reminded that life goes on, that joy exists, that hope is still possible. Because if I let myself feel that, I'd have to feel everything else too. And I wasn't ready. One Saturday morning I was at the grocery store, just grabbing the basics. Frozen meals, coffee, beer. And as I was walking to my car, I saw an older woman struggling with her bags. She'd dropped one, and cans were rolling everywhere. I almost kept walking, but something made me stop. Need help? Oh, thank you. These darn bags. I picked up the cans, helped her load them into her car. You're very kind, she said. It's nothing. It's not nothing. Not everyone stops these days. She smiled at me, a warm, genuine smile. And for just a second, I felt something I hadn't felt in 2 years. Human. A few weeks later, I was sitting on my back porch. It was early morning. The sun was just coming up. Emma used to love mornings like this. She'd sit out here with her coffee, watching the birds. I never understood it, never saw the point. But that morning I did. I watched a cardinal land on the fence, bright red against the gray wood. It sat there for a minute, tilted its head, looked right at me, and then it flew away. I don't know why, but I started crying. Not loud, not dramatic, just tears. Because that bird reminded me of Emma, of the way she'd point out little things and say, "Look, Jack, isn't that beautiful?" And I'd say, "Yeah, sure," without really looking. But now I was looking, and it was beautiful, and I hated that she wasn't there to see it with me. That afternoon, I did something I hadn't done in 2 years. I called Pastor Tom. "Tom, it's Jack." "Jack, how are you?" "I don't know, I needed to talk to someone." "I'm glad you called. Want to meet for coffee?" "Yeah, okay." We met the next day at a diner. I didn't know what to say, where to start, so I just started talking about Emma, about the anger, about feeling lost. Tom listened, didn't interrupt, didn't try to fix me. When I was done, he said, "You know, Jack, grief doesn't follow a timeline, and faith doesn't either. I don't think I have faith anymore. You're here, talking to me. That's something. It's not faith. It's just, I don't know. Desperation. Sometimes that's where faith starts." I looked at him. "I don't know how to believe again. I don't even know if I want to." "You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be open." "Open to what?" "To the possibility that God is still there, even when you can't see him." I didn't say anything, but I thought about that cardinal, about the woman at the grocery store, about the way the sunrise looked that morning. Small things, meaningless things, or maybe not. Chapter 4. The Small Signs. Over the next few months, I started noticing things. Not big, obvious things, but small moments, quiet moments, moments I would have ignored before. One day, I was at a red light. A homeless guy was standing on the corner with a sign, "Anything helps, God bless." I usually ignored people like that, but this time I rolled down my window, handed him a 10. "Thank you," he said. "God bless you." I didn't respond, just drove away. But as I did, I thought, why did I do that? I don't even believe in God anymore. But something made me stop. Another day, I was at work. A young couple came in. First-time car buyers, nervous, didn't have much money. I could have pushed them into something expensive, made a bigger commission, but I didn't. I helped them find something affordable, reliable, within their budget. When they left, they hugged me. "Thank you so much. You have no idea what this means." And I realized, I do know. Because Emma would have done the same thing. She would have helped them. Not for credit, not for recognition. Just because it was the right thing to do. I started visiting Sarah in Denver, met my granddaughter Emily for the first time. She was 6 months old, tiny, perfect. Sarah put her in my arms, and I looked down at this little person who didn't know me, didn't know Emma, but she was here, living, growing. And I thought, Emma would have loved her so much. And that thought didn't hurt as much as it used to. It was still sad, but it wasn't just sad. It was also something else. Gratitude, maybe. That Emma and I made Sarah, and Sarah made Emily. And Emma's love didn't end when she died. It continued, in them, in me. One night I was sitting in my living room, and I did something I hadn't done in almost 3 years. I prayed. Not out loud, not formally, just thought words in the direction of God. I don't know if you're listening. I don't know if you care. But if you are, if you do, I'm sorry for being so angry, for pushing you away. I don't know how to do this, but I'm trying. Nothing happened. No voice from the sky, no burning bush, just silence. But it felt different than before. Before, the silence felt empty. Now it felt full, like maybe I wasn't talking to nothing. Maybe I was talking to someone who was listening, even if he didn't answer the way I wanted. Chapter 5. The unexplainable. 3 months later, something happened that I can't explain. Something that changed everything. I was driving home from work. Late, around 9 p.m. The roads were empty, dark, and then, out of nowhere, my car started making a noise. A grinding, scraping sound. I pulled over, popped the hood, looked at the engine. I'm not a mechanic. I had no idea what was wrong. I tried calling a tow truck. No signal. Tried to restart the car. Nothing. I was stuck, middle of nowhere, no help. And I thought, great, perfect. Of course this happens. I sat in my car for a few minutes, frustrated, tired. And then I saw headlights. A truck pulled up behind me. An older man got out, maybe 65, 70. Need help? Yeah, car died. I don't know what's wrong with it. Let me take a look. He walked over, looked under the hood. Alternator belt, snapped clean off. Can you fix it? Not permanently, but I can get you home. He went to his truck, came back with a spare belt, spent 20 minutes rigging it up. That should hold until you can get it to a shop. Thank you, seriously. I don't know what I would have done. No problem, glad I could help. I reached for my wallet. Let me pay you. No need. Come on, you just saved me. It's okay, just pay it forward. He got back in his truck, started to drive away. And then I realized I didn't get his name. I called out, "Hey, what's your name?" He rolled down his window, and I swear to God, he smiled and said, "Just a friend." And then he drove off. I stood there for a minute, confused. And then I got back in my car, started it up, it worked. I drove home. The whole way I kept thinking, what just happened? Who was that guy? Why did he stop? Why did he have exactly the part I needed? And why did he say, "Just a friend"? When I got home, I sat in my driveway for a long time, and I thought about Emma, about the cardinal, about the homeless man, about the couple at work, about Emily, about all the small moments that didn't mean anything on their own. But together, they felt like something, like someone was trying to tell me something, like God was saying, "I'm here, I've always been here. You just weren't looking." That night, I went into my bedroom. Emma's side of the bed. I opened her nightstand drawer. Inside was her Bible. I hadn't opened it in 3 years, but I opened it that night, and it fell open to a page, marked with a bookmark. Psalm 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Emma had underlined it, and written in the margin, in her handwriting, "For when life gets hard, remember, He's always close." I sat there, holding that Bible, and I cried. Not from sadness, from something else. Relief, maybe, or hope, or the realization that Emma knew. She knew I'd need this someday, and she left it for me. And I said out loud, "Okay, I hear you. I don't understand everything. I'm still angry sometimes. I still miss her so much it hurts. But I hear you, and I'm listening." Chapter 6. The Peace. After that night, something in me changed. Not all at once, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly. I started going back to church, not every week. But sometimes, I'd sit in the back, listen, try to feel something. And some weeks I did. Pastor Tom invited me to a grief support group. It's not just about faith, he said. It's about healing. I went, reluctantly. There were 6 of us, all people who'd lost someone. A woman who lost her husband, a man who lost his son, a mother who lost her daughter. We all had the same pain, the same anger, the same questions. And for the first time in 3 years, I didn't feel alone. One woman, Linda, said something that stuck with me. I used to think God took my husband from me, but then I realized God didn't take him. God carried me through it. All those moments when I thought I couldn't go on, I did, because God was holding me up. I just didn't see it at the time. I thought about that a lot, about all the moments I thought I was alone. The woman at the grocery store, the cardinal, the man on the road. What if I wasn't alone? What if God was there, in all of it, holding me up? Not in the way I wanted, not in the way I expected, but there. I started reading Emma's Bible, not every day, but sometimes. I'd read the passages she'd underlined, the notes she'd written, and it felt like she was talking to me, guiding me, reminding me that faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting that someone does. One Sunday, I stayed after service, walked up to Pastor Tom. I want to thank you. For what? For not giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself. I never gave up on you, Jack, and neither did God. I'm starting to believe that. He smiled. That's all you need. Just the start. Chapter 7. The Return. Last month I did something I hadn't done in 3 years. I went to Emma's grave. I'd avoided it, couldn't face it. But I went. I brought flowers, sat on the grass beside her headstone, and I talked to her, out loud, like she could hear me. Hey, Em, I'm sorry it took me so long. I was angry, at you, at God, at everything. But I'm not as angry anymore. I miss you, every single day. But I'm okay now. Or, I'm getting there. I met Emily. She's beautiful, looks just like Sarah. You would have loved her. I wish you were here to meet her, but I know you're watching. Somehow, and I know you're proud of me for not giving up, even when I wanted to. I sat there for a long time, and then I said, I believe again, Em. I don't know why it took me so long, but I do. I believe God loves me. I believe He loved you, and I believe you're with Him now, and that gives me peace. As I stood up to leave, I saw it. A cardinal, sitting on the tree above her grave, bright red, beautiful. It looked at me, tilted its head, and then it flew away. I smiled because I knew that wasn't just a bird. That was Emma and God reminding me, we're here, we've always been here. Conclusion, God's love in the small things. I'm 53 years old, and I believe in God again. Not because I had some dramatic, life-changing revelation, but because I learned to see Him in the small things, in the stranger who stopped to help me, in the bird on the fence, in my granddaughter's smile, in the words Emma left behind. God's love doesn't always show up the way we expect. It doesn't prevent pain. It doesn't stop loss. But it's there, in the midst of it, holding us, carrying us, reminding us, you are loved. You are not alone. For 3 years, I was angry at God, and that's okay, because God is big enough for our anger. He doesn't turn away when we scream at Him. He doesn't leave when we doubt Him. He stays, quietly, patiently, waiting for us to open our eyes and see. He's been there all along. So if you're watching this, and you've walked away from God, if you've been angry, hurt, or lost, if you've questioned whether He's real or whether He cares, I want you to know He is, and He does. Not in the way you might expect, but in ways you'll recognize if you start looking. In the kindness of a stranger, in the beauty of a sunrise, in the peace that comes when you finally let go. God loves you immensely, unconditionally, even when you can't see it, even when you don't feel it. He's there. I thought I lost everything when Emma died, but I was wrong. I didn't lose everything. I lost her, and that will always hurt. But I didn't lose God's love. I just stopped looking for it. And when I started looking again, I found it everywhere. This is Good Stories Today, your channel for emotional and inspiring stories. If this story resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe. I share stories like this every week, real, honest, human stories about faith, loss, and discovering God's love in unexpected places. Thanks for listening. And remember, you are deeply, immensely loved by God, even when you can't see it, especially then. See you in the next story.